And one of the reasons why we're sitting here thinking it is entirely real for the Vikings to win the conference, and obviously if they do that, they win the NFC North, that the Lions have been sitting on top of on their Honolulu blue throne since week 2, pretty much, is not because they have the same record now, that's obvious, and not because they play each other in week 18, for which it could be for the division and conference. The Eagles obviously have a lot to say about that. The Packers have something to say about that because the Packers play the Vikings in week 17, and you could make a case that they are playing like the best team in the conference too. But you're saying that because the Vikings have won 7 in a row, and they're not down to their third stringers on many spots on defense, like the Lions are. They're also not down one of their best players on offense in David Montgomery, like the Lions are. And the Vikings just eviscerated a lesser opponent, yes, on Monday Night Football, and the Lions just got taken to the woodshed by a Bills team that feels inevitable. And this is a measuring stick game, even for a team that had won as many games in a row as the Lions had won, right? Even a team that won 11 in a row, it was a measuring stick game, and the Bills took that measuring stick and hit the Lions over the head with it. And I know, Lions fans, I did do what I advocated that T.J. Jefferson not do. I read some of the comments on our YouTube video that we put out from our open of the show yesterday while I gave Josh Allen flowers, and they're like, well, look what he did against our third stringers. Well, guess what? The Bills didn't have 2 safeties in the back and took a 14-0 lead. And they were down Rasul Douglas, too. I mean, everybody's down. Yeah. But the Lions are particularly down. I get that. And that's the narrative now in Detroit, which is attrition is setting in. And the Lions' dream season is now heading to the nightmare of injured reserve over and over and over again. And that if you take too many top-notch Super Bowl-worthy rostered players off this team, they will suddenly now be as beatable as anybody else. Dan Campbell has been working 24 hours, 7 days a week on this team, and he has been working the last 24 hours to push back on this narrative. This is what he had to say when announcing David Montgomery was out for the season when he met with the media on Monday.
We acknowledge the fact that, man, we've lost players, we've lost really good players, but nobody cares. I mean, you know, nobody cares, and nobody's going to give us a pass or put an asterisk next to your record. Or so what it means is some guys are going to have an unbelievable opportunity. You know, because of what has happened, that means now, and you're a guy who's on the vet squad, or you're a young player, or you're somebody that's been dying to get an opportunity, you're about to get it. And so that's a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty inspiring thing. You know, what are you going to do with it? And it's up to us to give them a plan to where they can succeed. And I've said it before, we play with 3 units here. And we'll do what we have to do to win a game. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters from here on out, is that you just need to have one more point than the opponent, period.
No one's going to be playing the violins for us. We've heard this from coaches before. Dan Campbell's got to play that card. He played the card of 1 point more than anybody else on his local radio hit today in Detroit, where he worked a little Honolulu blue. This is Dan Campbell at his finest, pounding the table for the Lions to take advantage of this opportunity, with the narrative now being everywhere that they can't.
You know what happens is, you know, you win 11 in a row, you know, and you lose, and then the sky falls. And I hate to say it, but we're not going to be able to win 11 in a row again for the rest of this season. We're just not going to be able to do it. And, you know, what happens is you get used to eating filet, and I'm talking to all of us. And well, everything's good, life's good, but you forgot what it was like when you had nothing and you ate your molded bread, and it was just fine, and it gave you everything you needed. And sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are, and we'll do that. And so we got a bad taste in our mouth. We got kicked around the other day. We lost a few guys, and you know what? It's exactly what we needed. This is exactly what we needed. So we're going to bounce back. We're going to respond. We got guys that are about to have an unbelievable opportunity here, and we will play the game any way needed to win. We still got a good offense. We got plenty of defensive players. I can go rattle them off right now. We're going to put the best 11 on the field. We're going to freaking cut it loose. We're going to play with our special teams. And I don't give a crap if we got to win by 1 point for the rest of the year. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to be happy about it. We come out of the game with 50 yards of total offense and we win by 1, you're going to see smiles on my face, I promise you. All right? If it's the other way defensively, we give up 700 yards and we win by 1 point, you're going to see a smile from my ear to ear. All right? I can promise you. So we're going to find a way and we're going to get it done.
97 won the ticket, Costa and Jansen. Jansen being John Jansen, a Michigan Wolverine. If everybody seek out the video of it. We covered it here on the show. Every time the F-bomb got dropped, you could see John was looking at somebody behind the glass, basically like hit the button, or maybe he was hitting the button. You could see. Take a look at it. You're the expert, Mike.
I gotta look.
But it's great.
Hit the dump button.
Hey, man, this is exactly what the Lions need. And the question is the cult of personality going to be enough? Is it going to be enough? They need to hear this from the coach, and I think they got the right guy to basically say what needs to be said, and it's just like next man up mentality. And yeah, the next man up might be the third stringer or whatever, but it's up to him and Aaron Glenn and to certainly on defense to come up with a plan where that third stringer can have his best abilities brought to bear and not exposed in the other direction. And for all my Lions friends out there, I sure would love for the narrative to be, that loss is exactly the punch in the mouth that the Lions needed to wake up, and the coaching staff, through cult of personality and their smarts in the film room and certainly in the playbook, is exactly what put the Lions right where we thought they were going to be, which is New Orleans for the Super Bowl. I sure would love that to happen. And I'd love for them to basically turn all A.J. Brown and just basically say, this is the time for us to tell the media to shut up. But Detroit is at Chicago, which is a beatable team, as we know, at San Francisco, which isn't the same, and then there's that game against Minnesota, which is now, I think, going to be for the division. And they're going to have to absolutely taste that blood in their mouth. And Dan Campbell's the right guy to do it. He's sounding all the right notes right now. Unbelievable the Lions season's come to this. Football gods are really kicking them in the nards. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.